Happy fiestas, everyone.
Yay, happy fiesta.
So I have a couple of things here. The first is from Ernest Holmes. When we conceive a new idea, we are thinking directly from the creativity of God. From Neville Goddard, from The Awakened Imagination and the Search. Truth depends upon the intensity of the imagination, not upon external facts. Facts are the fruit bearing witness to the use or misuse of the imagination. Man becomes what he imagines. Imagination is the way, the truth, the life revealed. We cannot get hold of truth with a logical mind. Truth cannot be encompassed by facts. As we awaken to the imaginative life, we discover that to imagine a thing is to make it so. Imagination is the force by which the sensuous outer world of becoming is brought to pass. We see the outer world and all its happenings as projections of the inner world of imagination. We must become conscious of this interactivity and see the relationship between the inner causal world of imagination and the outer world of effects. It is a marvelous thing to find that you can imagine yourself into the state of your fulfilled desires and escape from the jails which ignorance built. The real self is a magnified imagination, and it is this self that must be awakened. And lastly, from Ernest Holmes, prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer. And so our affirmation, I'll read it through one time and then we'll read it together, or we'll say it together. Daily, I prepare myself to receive the best life has to offer. Daily, I prepare myself to receive the best life has to offer. And so it is.
And so it will be.
Good morning, I'm Joseph Saleck, the music director here, and this morning I'm very happy to be introducing my musical collaborator and co-creator, Michou Landon, a wonderfully talented singer and lyricist. She's also a reverend with the Church of Divine Light, affiliated with the Boulder Psychic Institute, and she leads yoga, qigong, and meditation practices. Monday morning, she has a in and restorative yoga class at the Santa Fe Community Yoga Center. On the weekends, she teaches out at the Santa Fe Treehouse Camp. Is there? Oh, and then also does a once a month online writing workshop. She calls it Writing Teas, and she has 2 books of poetry published, and she also does has a blog and does editing. Please join me in welcoming Michou Landon.
So we're taking a new one out for a spin today. Enjoy. This may be the only time you hear this particular version, so you heard it here first. Oh, just a little mic dressing here.
How's that?
When I've counted all my blessings, 100, 2, 3. When I've offered all my prayers, praise and plea. And when I gaze into the void, dark and deep, I see the light that flows throughout from inside me. Turning and returning, there's only love. Waking in the 10,000 things. Yearning and returning, a homing dove finds his way to Mecca and sings. You and me, we play games of hide and seek, never really hidden at all. reflecting through every gem, unique, pretending we're alone in it all. When the light behind my eyes begins to see, and when I gaze into that light, blind yet free, I can only watch my feet where I be, and take the one step next to take before me. Turning and returning, there's only love, dancing in the 10,000 things. Yearning and returning, the homing dove finds his way to Mecca and sings. You and me, we play games of hide and seek, never really hidden at all. Everybody prays for a little peek of who we are behind our own walls. When I hold the hand of man, dreamer wave, and when his heart flows through his hands, thirsts our slave. You and me, subject, object, ping pong game. When my sight sees in love's light, we're all the same. Turning and returning, there's only love, dancing in the 10,000 things. Yearning and returning, the homing dove finds his way to Mecca and sings. You and me, we play games of hide and seek, never really hidden at all. I'm reflecting through every gem, unique, pretending we're alone in it all. Everybody prays for a little peek of who we are behind our own walls.
So I have plenty of draperies here. Good morning, every day.
Good morning.
I'm so happy to be looking into your faces this morning, to be welcoming you and celebrating our chance to be together. And I'm Rev Ann Rea, and yeah, I did think I'd say it early. And I'm Rev Ann Rea, and I am almost the 6-year senior minister of the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living.
Wow.
Almost. One more week. One more week.
Okay.
So we're celebrating.
Okay.
That's a hint.
Uh-huh.
And I expect to see all of you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And you and you
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
and you and you. So the question that opened the month
was, are you willing? And today my question is, are you willing to conceive? And sure, conceive is associated with pregnancy, right? And how relevant is that? Are we willing to be pregnant with the idea, with the imagined, with the delight of who we are becoming?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Are we willing to imagine?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we willing to imagine
Yeah.
the next step? The outcome that seems ridiculous and hard.
Oh.
The outcome that seems impossible. Are we willing to conceive of a life that's easy?
Yes. Yeah.
And then how far are we willing to take that conception? Are we willing to take the imagined outcome, tiny or big? Are we willing to take the imagined outcome? You know, there is no large or small in the mind of God, right? Because it's all one. And that just wasn't a casual castaway statement. There is no large or small. There is no difference other than in our own perception.
Yep.
Because as we might imagine, if we were to imagine that there is God, a higher power, spirit, the one that is the one, Harold, whatever name we want to give it, you know, it has thousands, and it doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
It answers to all of them. If we were to imagine that its solutions, its resolutions, its access to all of the parts and pieces that need to come together in our minds in order for something to resolve in incredible ways, that its access may be greater than ours. We could imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might remember that there is one life. There is one power, there is one presence, it is all life. It is the life of everything created, ever to be created, including us.
Right.
So if that life is revealed by means of us, if that life is revealed by means of us, then it makes sense to me that our imagination can include what our human brain, bless its cotton-picking heart, for all of its wondrous capabilities, cannot envision as possible. That our imagination can go beyond what appears like the wall that Michou sang about. It goes beyond what appears to be the wall to the perfect outcome. It doesn't have to be in detail. let me emphasize this. Our hearts know things. Our inner wisdom knows things and outpictures things in a different way than our brain does. Our brain tends to be tethered. Everybody knows what I mean by tethered, right? There's like a tie. Our brain is tethered to what human beings invented the word reality for. Tethered. Well, that doesn't seem very realistic. Thinking you can make a living by being an actor or a director or an editor, let alone anybody super successful, like a friend of mine, is ridiculous. You need to earn a degree. First of all, you need to earn a degree, right?
No.
You need to earn a degree, you need to have a degree in order to take the next step and be worthwhile and have any expectation of making a living. How many people in this room have degrees? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. And are the rest of us getting along pretty okay?
Yes. Of course.
I have a lot of education, but I don't have a degree. And a lot of us share that experience. We have a lot of education, but we don't have the piece of paper to go with it. And yet, here we are. And yet, we've gotten this far. Wow.
Yeah.
And part of what got us this far, without us even realizing it, was our imagination. Because there was something that urged us on, that called us on, that had nothing to do with degrees. And I'm not saying that degrees are bad. I'm just saying that they have been given an importance by generations before us. And I understand all of that. I understand being from a family where this is not my experience, but I have friends who were the first to graduate from high school in their family, let alone the first to go to college. Great. It is not the source.
Right.
A degree is not the source. Education is not the source. Whatever jobs we have for those of us who are working, and whatever income we have for those of us who have income coming in from wherever, yay, that is not the source. Can we conceive? Are we willing to conceive a source that is unlimited?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Show me.
Happens every day in my life.
Show me.
Well, what do you want to see?
What I want to see is your belief. What I want to see is your acceptance. Really being the inheritor of all possibility. What I want to see is that enthusiasm, that irrepressible yes that we are saying back to whatever we want to call it. The universe, spirit, yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'll tell you as I have before, because there are some things that are worth repeating. If we go with a thimble to the ocean, we will have a thimble full of ocean water.
Mm-hmm.
Now that ocean water is still all ocean water, right? Bless you, Petra, on the truth. If we go with a cup, we'll come away with a cup. If we go with a bucket, we'll come away with a bucket. If we go with a big metal drum, we'll come away with a big metal drum. If we go with pure acceptance of what is truly unlimited, we will come away with what is truly unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to see is your unlimited acceptance of all that's possible. Now, I'll tell you what. I have to have a moment of commercial announcement here, because all that is possible is not what you want.
Mm.
All that is possible includes all that is possible. So it includes some things and some circumstances and some events that we just as soon pass. You know, we would just as soon take a pass, and we would just as soon say, no, that's not for me. That's not for me. No judgment, no criticism, it's just not for me. What is for me, it is what is for me. When I talk about conceiving from the realm of all possibility, when I talk about using our imagination in that sandbox, and you know, for any of us who ever played in sandboxes, even as a grown-up, I played in sandboxes. For any of us who ever played in sandboxes, at the time, anything was possible. So I have to tell you a little story. I was in the waiting room at the doctor's office the other day, just as a follow-up on something. Everything's good. Everything's golden, actually. And this family comes in. And at first, it's the grandparents and this little girl who was maybe, I don't think she was 2, dressed to the nines. Perfect hair, perfect bows, perfect little pinafore dress with her little shirt, with her little ruffled puffy sleeves and her little Peter Pan collar. I'm not making this up. And her little Mary Janes, and her mother arrived shortly after. I guess she was coming in from work, because she was dressed like she was coming from an office. Anyway, this little girl, she went from thing to thing in the room with her grandfather close behind. And everything she put her eyes on, she went, and she got this little shiver. And then she'd go around the room and she'd see something else and she'd go, and she made it all the way around the room, and then she did the circuit again and she reacted the same way. It was like a puppy. She was so excited.
Yeah.
Show me that.
Yeah.
Show me that.
Yeah.
When you think about the tool, the incredible tool of your imagination and what's possible when you actively use it, purposefully use it, intentionally use it, show me that. You know what that is? That's expectancy. That's not expectation. That's not the expectation that we may have had in the past, depending on how we were raised, of a higher power, of God, of spirit, of the universe behaving in a certain way that suits us. Coming up with a solution that suits us, or is precisely the way we imagine it. No. It's expectancy of good.
Yeah.
Conceive that. I have to tell you, I haven't spent my whole life going, because as you know, even though my grandmother, who was truly the greatest woman in the world, brought so much of that to my life, there were others who didn't. So it isn't like I've walked through life going, I had to find it again. I had to find my willingness again. I had to find my childlike wonder again. I had to remember what it means to change my life by changing my mind. And to not give two hoots about what has gone before as being some kind of indictment about my limitations. I had to look beyond. I had to do exactly what I am sharing with you, what I am encouraging in you. I had to learn and be willing to learn and be willing to practice and be willing to fail and be willing to go back and start over. I had to learn to look past the evidence.
Yeah.
I had to be willing to learn to look past the effects. I had to be willing to look past the circumstances and recognize that this is my life. It is my life. It is my opportunity to reveal the divine as I choose. And you know what's interesting is that we've been revealing the divine all along.
Yeah, that's it.
And we may look at places in our lives where we thought, whoops. I mean, at the time we didn't think whoops, but we look back on it now and we think, whoops. Had I known then what I know now? But you know what? We didn't. We didn't know then what we know now. Which is why we have the opportunity, the golden opportunity, the richest opportunity there is to be new every day,
Yes.
to choose again every moment. I heard someone say the other day that they feel that they are at a crossroads. We all are. We make one choice. It opens the road that is just covered with a gazillion other choices. Every time we make a choice, we're at a crossroads. Are we willing to take what we conceive as our best life? As the Godfather would say to the mattresses. Anybody not seen The Godfather? I know it's been a long time. You all know what I mean by to the mattresses?
No.
Okay. So, this is the mafia, right?
Yeah.
And different families in the mafia, when they would get ticked off at each other for some reason, they would take each other, they'd use this term, we're going to the mattresses. And that meant they were going to war with each other. Are we at war with what's possible in our lives? Are we in this tug of war
Yeah.
with what's possible in our lives, where we're looking at the checkbook instead of looking at what's possible?
Exactly.
I mean, the checkbook is the checkbook. Bless its heart. It reflects what it reflects. It doesn't reflect anything about you. It doesn't reflect anything about anything except how much money is in the bank. It doesn't even reflect how much money is available.
Got it.
Whoa.
Got it.
So to that news, that there is plenty of plenty, if we say so. There's plenty of plenty, if we're looking for it. That there are support systems, all is all.
Right.
There's no way for me to gesture and show you what all is. But that means all. And each of us has our own all. Each of us has our own all. So it isn't like if Carol finds $1,000 on the sidewalk, that Patty will have a shortage in her good this week. Because in order for Carol to find that $1,000 on the sidewalk, you better be looking now.
Didn't take anything.
It didn't take anything away from Patty. In fact, every single one of our, what we would call blessings, right? Every single one of our blessings blesses everybody else. Those we know, those we don't know, those we see as already blessed, those we see as already not blessed, which is a judgment on our part. Our blessing, our good blesses everybody. Everybody. So I want to see some 2-year-olds in here. I want to see I want to feel that, that excitement, that freshness, those new eyes, that bigger heart. Without exception. There is nothing in the way. Now it may seem, the facts may say differently. The effects may say differently. The circumstances may say differently. But trust me when I tell you, there is nothing in the way.
Get it.
There is not a single fact, effect, or circumstance that even scratches the surface when it comes to the power, the presence, the one life, and all that it is and has at its disposal because it made it. Nothing stands in the way. Last, I'm going to update you. So last weekend, we did a special honoring, a special prayer honoring for a dear friend of ours who had had this event that I don't know what the percentages are, but they're really high, that most people die from just like that. And not only did he not die, the doctor agreed if they being he and his wife wanted to take the chance that he would do the surgery. He said, but I'm telling you, the chances are very slim that you will come out of it. So once his wife had an opportunity to text me, she reached out for me and she said, will you please get your team on this? This is what has happened to Michael. Now these are very dear friends of ours. And our world was rocked because he is the picture, the epitome of perfect health. So they did the surgery. And not only has he survived, he is thriving. He's already home. He's walking without assistance. Because they cut his sternum open, he's a little tender here, and he's got a ways to go, but we saw him yesterday, and he was our Michael.
Oh, yeah.
There is nothing in the way. I encourage all of you, even if you can't do it in public, you can't quite bring yourselves to do it in public, let yourself have a moment or two this week of 2-year-old, pure, unmitigated joy. Excitement, enthusiasm, and remind yourself that that's where you want to live, is in knowing, is in trusting that there are answers beyond answers, beyond answers, beyond answers, beyond resolutions, beyond solutions, beyond. And they are all available to you 24/7. And so it is.
easy under the moon, floating round the lake. Laughter sounds from a loon who croons for silence sake. Peace lives here in my heart. Every breath drawn deep. Living, this is our art. Rest before you sleep. All is well, still hearts swell. Nothing more to do. All is being serene and teeming. It's all here for you. The breeze has secrets at dawn. Don't go back to sleep. Love each yes you hear call, and don't go back to sleep. At the door where nothing meets all, don't go back to sleep. All is well, still hearts swell. Nothing more to do. All is well, serene and teeming. It's all here for you. Peace lives here in my heart. Every breath drawn deep. Living, this is our art. Peace is ours to keep. Peace is ours to keep. Peace is ours to keep.
All right, everyone, now is our time of conscious giving. And if I could ask the ushers please to come forward. So I have a nice quote from Ernest Holmes that I wanted to share as you're preparing your offering. He says, "The abundance you desire to experience must first be an experience in your mind." And so if you just take a nice deep breath with that, and imagine the abundance that each of us wants to experience. Imagine the abundance of the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living. Imagine this abundance flowing out to all the places that